Thank you, April. If everybody could join me in saluting the flag of our great nation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody can remain standing for a moment, just to remember our troops, their families, our first responders, and just one announcement. Sunday, Alfie Wenzel had passed away. He was a long-time fireman at Belmar. He lived in Belmar for many years. So if we just keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Okay, workshop. We have a couple things. I'm not sure if all the council knows, but we received two different letters from the state of New Jersey. One, our trip to Washington, D.C. for the $600,000 apparently was unsuccessful. They sent us a letter saying that they are still refusing to pass. So we've spoken to our attorney, Mr. Dasty, and we're going to be taking a few other steps to see if we can still get some of that money. The other letter is we received from FEMA that during Sandy, some of the money that we received from them, $8,449,000. After they did an audit of Belmar, they found that they overpaid us $1,007,000, and they would like the money back. So we're working on that. I just want to let everybody know that. Make sure the council knows that those two letters there, so we are going to be working on those two things. The other thing I want to talk about tonight, is there any questions on that?
Just to clarify for the public, the $600,000 for the outflow.
Yes, for the outflow pipe, yeah. We went down to Washington, D.C. With Chris Smith, and we just were informed that they are still refusing to pass because of the way the whole thing was set up with the engineering firm. So, but Mr. Dasty has a couple ideas, and we're going to be working on that. Some of it could involve litigation, so we can't talk too much more about that. The other thing I want to bring up tonight that is for first reading on the ordinance is we're going after a bond for $1,300,000. The $300,000 part of this bond is for the Lake Como outfall pipe, because now that we're not getting the $600,000, we have to pay the contractors off so we can finish getting our money from FEMA. So it's basically going to be a wash because we have to pay them off before we close out the project and get some of the money back. The other $1 million is that the $1 million that was taken out of the beach utility, before the end of the year, we have to put the $1 million back, and that's from the Department of Community Affairs. They weren't going to let us pass our budget this year until we promised them to put the $1 million back in the beach utility that was taken out. So, but what we're going to do with that is, even though it's bonded for $1 million, we're going to put it in the beach utility, and then we're going to pay off $1 million of the bonding there. So it's basically a wash. Just so, I just wanted to make sure the council knew that, so that if you have any questions or anybody questions you on the 1.3, that's what it's for. So basically, as soon as we transfer the monies and all that, it should be a wash. Ed, do you want to bring up anything else? Is there anything else we want to bring up for the council so they know about?
I signed a voucher on September 14th for $92,000 with an open space grant for McCleary Park. This is one of the grants that we were in fear of losing. The grant reimbursement deadline was December 19th, 2017. They had no communication with the Borough of Belmar. They contacted us early in 2019. We were able to have Mr. Ferguson, one of our administrative assistants who has volunteered his time, work with the county. This was a project that cost a total of $287,000 from McCleary Park. Total construction cost for the bathroom down there was $181,644.37. Total engineering cost was $106,223.39. This was also supposed to be part of the Green Acre Grant. town did not follow through with the Green Acre Grant based on a letter from the state and the feds, that because of lack of cooperation, they had backed out of the Green Acre Grant. Basically, total expenses were $287,967.76, and an open space grant, you only get half. So out of that, we got $92,000 that we were in fear of losing, but because of Mr. Ferguson and because of follow-up by the administrative committee, we were able to get that money. So I'm hoping that it's an attorney review right now. I'm hoping that we get that $92,000 and quickly. The other grant that we're hopefully going to get is a National Boating Infrastructure Grant from October 2015. In February, I received a call from the Maritime Resources of the New Jersey Department of Transportation. The previous administration didn't respond to emails dating back from May and June 2018, and that we were in jeopardy of losing that funding. That funding comes to a total of $259,900.48. I'm crossing my fingers, but I've been told that hopefully we will be getting review by the New Jersey Department of Transportation, and that they will cut us a check for that amount of money. So we're moving forward on some of the past grants, and hopefully we'll be recouping some of those losses.
Thank you. I think that's all I have for workshop. Anybody else have anything? Okay, moving on to petitions. Anyone out there in the audience have a petition for us? Oh, seeing none. April approval of minutes.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 3rd meeting?
Second.
Councilman Juan? Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Okay, reports of council. Councilman Carvelli?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Okay, so I have a few things here. As far as committees go, Harbor Commission had a meeting that I attended, and we talked about slip occupancy. It's north of 60% for this past year, which is much better than we've seen in years past. There was also some discussion about whether or not our fuel prices are competitive. We may be charging too little, so some discussion about how to, get those more in line with what we should be charging. There was also some discussion about the 2020 boat show, just starting to talk about that and what it might look like. ADA, that meets this Thursday after summer break, so no report there. Of course, we had the San Gennaro Festival. It was a great weekend, great turnout. I enjoyed myself there. The Police Explorers, the meeting is this Saturday at 10 a.m. I encourage students and parents interested in the Police Explorer program to attend. That'll be here at 10 a.m. on Saturday. There was also the beach, the Autism Beach Bash. They dodged the hurricane. The ocean calmed down and they had great weather for their event, and it seemed well attended. So, lastly, parking and pedestrian safety is something that I've taken on as a focus. And this past week, the county came down and repainted all of the crosswalks between 8th and 16th Avenue. So the county road, Main Street is county road between 8th and 16th. So the county came down, they took care of those crosswalks, they've repainted them with reflective paint. Over by the school is especially bad, and so we've gotten positive feedback from the crossing guards there. Also, we've had conversations with the state. They are going to take care of Main Street between 7th and 5th, that's the state road, state portion of Main Street. They are going to also be doing crosswalks, but they're also going to be redoing all of the signaling as well. So timers and lights and I'm guessing audible signals too, or are we not sure on that?
Councilman, Audible wasn't discussed, it was countdown timers
Okay.
at those intersections between Fifth Avenue, 5th, 7th, and as well as 8th.
Okay, great. So, as you can see, we're taking this stuff very seriously. We take very seriously the pedestrian safety. We want people to walk through town safely and not have to worry about, vehicle incidents and whatnot. So, at least on Main Street, we've been proactive with that. So, thank you. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Cracken?
Thank you, Mayor. None of the groups that I'm liaison to have met since our last meeting on September 3rd, but certainly it was disappointing to all of us that the Veterans Beach Badge and Military Appreciation Day was canceled due to weather, so I hope that that's something that we can look at future years to honor those folks for their service. Councilman Carvelli mentioned the San Gennaro Festival, which was organized differently this year than it has been in past years. That event was organized in-house with no external marketing firm. After all events, we do a debrief of the event and look to see what went well and what we could improve for next year. That hasn't happened yet, but certainly we did receive some constructive feedback regarding that event. But I know I talked to several business owners down in that area who benefited greatly from that festival. In fact, one told me it's the best weekend that they've had all year, including the summer, so I was very happy to hear that. And once again, want to recognize all of the honorees for the San Gennaro Festival for their devotion to this community and thank them for their service. The Belmar Housing Authority had a 9/11 remembrance ceremony on that day. I wanted to thank the Housing Authority for hosting that event. Again, the weather was great, but it's always a somber day for all of us. And they did a very nice job of organizing an ecumenical remembrance service for those who lost their lives, and as we continue to remember their families, as well as the Jersey Shore Running Club that organized a run along Ocean Avenue down into Spring Lake that evening. So I was honored to be able to be at that event as well. Many of you may have noticed caution tape on the 8th Avenue playground on the beach and wondered why there was caution tape in that playground. There was a ladder that had some rust on it that went up into the ship there. DPW was well aware of it and had already blocked that area off, but some citizens, rightfully so, were concerned about the safety of their children and rust on that equipment. So Director Campbell from the Department of Public Works reached out to the manufacturer of those playgrounds, of that playground, and then did an audit of all the playgrounds around town to inspect their safety, and it was identified that work needs to be done. And thankfully, for his persistence, even though that equipment was out of warranty, he convinced the manufacturer to supply all the necessary parts to the borough free of cost, so that DPW, once they're delivered, can go in and replace those parts and get rid of any rusty parts or whatever, so that the children have a safe place to play. So I wanted to thank Director Campbell for his efforts in that, and appreciate the fact that he didn't only recognize the one area, but had the foresight to get this company to go and inspect all of our playgrounds. So I think that's good news. Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Wong?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Like Jim, most of my committees are now through with the summer vacation, and we're starting this week. So by the next council meeting, I'll have reports for you on the various committees that I represent. I'd like to thank Mike Campbell and the Chief of Police for a wonderful San Gennaro Festival that was safe and efficiently run, which is a way of saving us money. We didn't really have overtime, that we had one person. It was run so well, and everyone had a great time. The weather was good, and I look forward to seeing it again next year. It was really great. And that's about it for me. Oh, community policing. We're doing a wrap-up meeting on the community policing. If there's anyone who still wants to get involved, just let me know. Go to the site and sign up. And on the other side, if there's anyone who wants to, doesn't want to be a block captain but still wants to be involved, just let us know. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to touch on a little bit of what Councilwoman Juan said about the community policing, if anybody, even if they don't want to be involved in it, but they want to see everything that's going on, and they can come and give their email address, so you know that you can still monitor everything that's going on in their area, and so we're still open to that idea too.
And don't forget, we still have the winter. So there's,
Yeah.
we don't stop in the summer. This is a year-round program. So we still have a lot, and especially in the wintertime, a lot to look for. So this is an ongoing program.
Thank you. I'm going to refer well, first of all, I want to thank the police department and DPW for the San Gennaro Festival. Everything went very nice, very smooth. Setting up, breaking down. Traffic-wise, I don't know if anybody noticed that we shortened the San Gennaro, so it was just between 10th and 12th this year, so that we didn't have to block off any major arteries. The only street that was really blocked off was Main Street and the top of 11th Avenue. So traffic moved around pretty well during the festival, and I just want to say that, you know, the police department and DPW did a great job breaking it up and setting it up. So I want to thank them. But I want to, the state Department of Transportation came in today, met with the chief, they met with our business administrator, and I want to let the chief explain what went on today with them and the 8th Avenue crossing.
Thank you, Mayor. We had an outstanding meeting with the state Department of Transportation, as well as New Jersey Transit, in addition with engineers on site. Surprisingly, they actually had plans written up already, preliminary plans that we looked at and reviewed to discuss some options, not just on the crosswalk, but the intersection of 8th Avenue as well as Highway 35 as you come off 35 heading eastbound on 8th. With the preliminarily, we had been discussing with the state as well as the Department of Transportation, as I discussed in prior meetings, that there is an easement there, and what we do along the railroad tracks is a concern, especially when we start signalizing any type of crosswalk. One of the options, which is probably the best option, which the engineers as well as I and the administrator agreed, was to move the crosswalk a short distance to the east, and where it would cross with signalization, meaning that you would actually push a button, lights would flash, it would not interfere with New Jersey Transit, and you can cross safely. In addition to that, we're looking at the intersection of 8th Avenue, where, you know, early morning and late afternoon, it's a congested area, it's a busy intersection, to where we were going to re-signalize it with countdown timers, where left-hand turn and straight right-hand turn. The plan actually looks phenomenal. From there, we actually met with some of the seniors at the senior building to discuss the options of the plan. I think that meeting went very well. I'm very hopeful that we're moving forward very quickly on this project. The engineers are going back, they're going to redraw some of the suggestions. I think we'll be having another meeting in the very near future. We do have a liaison assigned to this project now. It was extremely helpful, and we're moving forward very quickly on this.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody have any questions for the Chief? Okay. All right. Moving on to public session on any of the resolution items. All right. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
I just have a couple of questions on some of the things. Is it an appropriate time to ask, or is it too late? The resolution authorizing the street of bids for the marina fuel. Who owns the equipment that the fuel goes in? Is that part of the bid? Is it the fuel and the equipment, or does the municipality own the equipment, and we're just bidding for the fuel?
Just fuel.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
For 180, the encoder registers cold water meters and radio frequency meter interface units. Could someone expand a little bit about what exactly that?
I think that's the ones we use, right?
Those
We're
are-
going up for bid?
Right, they're the water meters.
The water, this is
Yeah.
names for different water meters. Thank you very much.
Councilman Lund? Mayor Walsper?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinances. We have a second reading on,
Yes, second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2019-31. If anyone from the public would like to comment on this ordinance, please step forward. State
Yes,
your name
Joe.
and address.
Joan Corral, A Street. There's a section in here that we're eliminating the fire escapes for the third floor for group rentals, if I'm understanding it correctly.
This is, we discussed this, this is in violation of the Oklahoma state statute. We were in violation of that. We were advised to remove that from the ordinance resolution.
Really?
Yes. You can't supersede the code. A borough ordinance.
I mean, because we do, you know, I know many years ago, they were after all of them to make sure that they had that fire escape and a second way of getting
On
out.
certain buildings,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
you
on
know.
certain buildings, it's code, it's a code adjustment. We got a letter from this, the town got a letter last year, maybe a year and a half ago, from the state advising that if they utilize that, they could be sued. So you can't, so we thought it best to take it out.
but it is, it's in the state statute, so what we have to do is just follow what's in the state
I
statute.
understand that, it just, to me, it seems like it's not a safe
There's some
thing
of
to
them
do.
that I think still need it.
Right.
But there's, if you had two different, I think, ways of escape from fire, then you don't need it. But we're gonna follow whatever the state, you know, because the state law supersedes it.
Thank you.
John, also, just so you know, I mean, I was concerned about that too, and it went to the planning board, and the planning board reviewed it last night, and the borough clerk got a letter today from their attorney saying that the amendments are consistent with the borough's development regulations and master plan too, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-31.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Councilman Lund? Mayor Walsper?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2019-32, first reading and introduction.
The rest of them are first.
Oh, you want to do them all?
Yeah, do them all at once.
All right, so first reading and introduction on ordinances 2019-32, 33, and 34. Do we have a motion to offer all three for first reading?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Councilman Lund? Mayor Walsper?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
They'll be on the next meeting agenda for public hearing.
Okay. Public session. Anyone from the public want to come up and comment on anything? All right, seeing none.
Motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, that's all right? Al, you want to say something? You raised your hand higher, I didn't see it.
That's too short.
how to spell it, 14th Avenue. First, I'd like to say my husband isn't able to make it tonight again. And he wanted to make sure I told you all, thank you for the June 22nd appearance of his Quilt of Valor Award. And the quilt is being used, and it is in the living room. He still talks about it, and he says how surprised he was. And then when he saw mayor, council, and police show up, he thought he was in trouble. So I said, no, you're not in trouble, not this time. So thank you. He wanted
Yeah, it
me
was
to
a very nice event.
relay that message over to you. I don't know how quite to put this one. Today, I had a friend that's been out of town, and I was driving around Belmar showing all the different things that are happening. And we were at dismissal time on 12th Avenue and Main Street. And we stopped, kids are crossing and all. This one girl screams to her friend, "Will you wait for me? Where the F are you going?" And I was like, okay, well, not my child, however, how inappropriate. I just thought that was terrible. I mean, there was a lot of kids, and when she yelled at everybody kind of turned and looked at her. So I just thought that was pretty disgusting. There's an issue with some shrubs on 13th Avenue and 71 on the southwest corner. They've been trimmed, however, I'm in an SUV, I could see above those bushes. When you're in a car, you have to go into the crosswalk and almost into southbound lane to see if anything's coming from the south. So can something be done about these bushes? I know there was some years ago, they were told to cut them down.
Just see me after, I'll sit with you after the meeting,
Okay,
okay?
all right. Winter's coming, and sometimes we get some nasty snowstorms, sometimes we don't. Is there any way that when notices go out for water bills, tax bills, or something, that a notice can be put in that saying all vehicles that are to be removed from the street when we do have a bad snowstorm coming? Not everybody has the reverse code blue, code red, that not everybody signed up for that, not everybody has email, there's some seniors that don't have email. So is there any way that a notice could be put out somehow, some way, when a snowstorm is coming to remove your vehicles off the street? We happen to be a pretty tight block, so everybody kind of tries to help each other out. Hey, snow's coming, pull in the driveway, but then you have a lot of people that just don't, and it's going to make it really inconvenient for the town to plow.
Part of the Office of Emergency Management Plan is social media, it's the reverse code red messages, and we'll take a look at the ordinance, we'll see if we get that.
Right, this way here, like I said, not everybody is on that.
Okay.
Question on the one-way street on 14th Avenue, what's our status? I know it's not something's gonna happen overnight.
We met with our engineer. He informed me that they are not allowed to do so, so we're in touch with DOT. They
Okay.
have to do it, so we are moving forward on that.
Great,
It hasn't been forgotten. I apologize for not getting back to you
No,
sooner,
that's
but we are working on it.
okay, all
All right?
right, so far, that's it,
Thank Kyle.
thanks.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? All right, April.
All right, a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you for everyone coming out tonight.